she looked at me. She looked at me like I like I hate to say this, but I'm going to just say it. She looked at me like I don't want to be here. I don't want to live. I don't want to be like this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is episode 10 of the 18-Wheeler Survival documentary, and I'm really excited about it. I was going to I did get balloons, and I was going to do the 100, kind of party, but we surpassed 100 subscribers, so I'm going to save the 100 for something else.
Thank you so
But
much.
thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for following along on this. It means so much to us. I keep getting messages and text messages, comments from all different types of people saying how much these videos have been helping them. And it means so much to me because that's the reason why we are doing this. So thank you. This is my mom.
Hello.
Linda, and she is telling the story. In the last episode, she did speak about how they took me off the ventilator and they had to do multiple washouts on me because of the abscess in my abdominal area. So she's going to pick up where we left off.
Okay, so yeah, one thing that I did forget to mention last episode was that when she came back into the room, and that's when I saw the glory of God, was something I'll never forget. I forgot to mention that she was back on the ventilator. They intubated her again, and they're still doing bronchoscopies. They're doing X-rays every day of her lungs, and they had to put her back on. And they were very concerned about her being back on the ventilator. They said that if they can't get her off in a couple of days, then they would have to do a trach. They would have to put a trach in. So there was a lot going on. So that day when they did the bronchoscopy, they told me about the trach. That was New Year's Eve. And it was a very busy day. New Year's Eve in the hospital is the busiest day of the year for a hospital, and especially for the ICU. So all the nurses were very busy preparing rooms, and they were even taking people out of some rooms and taking them to a step-down floor to make room for people that are going to come in to the surgical ICU. And sure enough, early that evening, around between 6 and 7, I was in Sanaya's room, and they brought a young man and they put him in Sanaya's old room, and he was
next door.
Right next door. They took her out because it was blowing hot and cold, and they had to fix that vent, that whatever they had to fix. And then they brought this young man, about 17 years old, in her room, and he started his New Year's Eve party a little too early and got into a car wreck. And so that was an interesting evening. Also that day, I had to go to the nurse's station, and I had to request that one nurse that missed the infection, that talked about Sanaya's veins being like ground beef, and
gave me more of that medicine,
more of the Haldol after she had a bad reaction. And I requested that she not be put on my daughter's, I don't know what they call it, on their schedule. I didn't want her on my daughter's schedule. I didn't want her in a room. I didn't want her near me or near Sanaya, actually. And I passed by her in the hall a couple of days after that. Ooh, did she give me a nasty look?
Oh,
I was
really?
like, oh yeah, she gave me a nasty look, but I don't care. I don't care. It's like, I'm concerned about her. So,
not making friends in the hospital.
That's right. I'm not trying to be like, oh, it's okay. It's like, no, it's not okay. You were not a good nurse to my daughter. There should be like more Nurse Desirees, and Nurse Desiree should train her. Anyway, So it was quite a, there was a lot of shifting going on during that time. And I had to also tell my friend, Sue Miller, I had to tell her, because the Lord told me, stop posting negative on Facebook. Because we were Sue Miller was doing me a huge favor, and she was posting prayer requests on Facebook because a lot of people were following, a lot of people were praying, but the Lord said, now you have a lot of gawkers and naysayers. She's now she has pneumonia and a collapsed lung. Oh no, that's not good. And then she had a huge abscess and infection in her abdomen. Oh no, that's not good.
Soon to be sepsis.
So it was like the Lord said, stop posting the negative and just call your prayer warriors, and for prayer requests, but stop posting it on Facebook. So that's what we did. And I'll tell you, you can't afford to have people think negative and be a naysayer or a gawker. You need positive people. You need people that are going to link arms with you, hold your arms up, pray, and
no doubt,
no negativity. No, oh no, that doesn't sound good. Oh, I know somebody that had pneumonia in the hospital and they
make it.
It's like, no, when the Lord said stop, I was like,
that even goes for family members too.
Yeah. Sometimes you can't tell people everything.
That's deep.
So it was quite a busy few days. So I'm gonna fast forward, since we have some time. I'm gonna fast forward to when, so it was Sunday, Monday was New Year's Eve, Tuesday was New Year's Day, and Tuesday they took her back down and did another double washout of her abdomen. So like every other day they were doing washouts. They would take her down, do a washout.
And what is a washout again?
So they open, basically she's still open, and they have to,
huge opening, okay? I'm talking about like,
yeah, her whole abdomen was open. And so they would pour like a betadine wash to get rid of any waste, any infection, anything that could be hidden somewhere in her abdomen. So they did that, and then they put a wound vac on her belly, and it's this black sponge that they set over her open abdomen, and it had like a little um, um, pump or something on it. And it helped to keep things circulating and
almost alive.
Yeah, honestly. It was very interesting. And so they did that New Year's Day, that Tuesday. Wednesday was pretty quiet, and then Thursday they took her down again for washouts, and then they were going to put the trach in. So they come, here comes the doctor with the big, the paper, explaining the procedure, explaining all the things that could go wrong. You have to, this could happen, and I had to sign that. I had to sign off on that. And I tell you what, that was crazy, because it's like they were gonna put a hole, and then that's what she would be breathing out of. But it's, I'm not a doctor. I can't make the call, and all I can do is trust God and call all the prayer warriors to pray. So they did. They took her down. They took her down to put the trach in and to do, I believe, on the other set of washouts. And she was down for quite a while. And I was waiting and waiting, and they came to get me from the family room, and I was expecting to go into her room, and seeing her knocked out as usual, and with the trach in. And I walk in, and she was off the vent, and she had no trach. They said that when they took the vent out, she began to breathe on her own, and she began having strong breaths, and they did not have a need to put the trach in. And I tell you what, God is so good, people. God is so good. That's why it's important to have people that trust God. They don't doubt. And the people that
are going
to
to
support, lift my hands. I tell you what, I was weary. I was getting very weary. At one point, I told our friend Gloria, I was talking to her on the phone. Gloria, I was like, I'm so tired. I'm not sleeping. I'm only sleeping like 1 or 2 hours at a time. And this was becoming very heavy. And I was like, Gloria, I don't even know how to pray anymore. I don't even know what to pray for, it seems like. I'm so tired. And she said, don't worry. You have so many people praying for you. You have so many people lifting up your arms in prayer. It's okay. You just stay by her side and you just continue to trust God. And we're praying. Just trust that we're praying. And I tell you what, you need people like that on your side that's going to stand with you and pray and trust God on your behalf. That made all the difference. All the difference. So yeah, no trach, no ventilator, wound vac on her belly. Things are starting to look up. Things are starting to look up. And so they're like also trying to wake her up a little bit. And there was, and this might disturb some people, but there's a point that I want to make in this. So there was a point where she was waking up, and she would look at me, and she still couldn't talk. And I remember her looking at me, and they had not taken her down for the MRI to see how the fracture on her C2 was yet at this point. So, but the brain bleed had stopped. Remember that. But she did have a brain bleed, and she did have a brain injury, a traumatic brain injury. And I've seen people with traumatic brain injuries, and I've seen the look in their eyes. And she looked at me. She looked at me like, I hate to say this, but I'm going to just say it. She looked at me like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to live. I don't want to be like this. And her eyes were it just told it all. And it crushed me. And I went to the Lord and I said, God, I will take care of her for the rest of my life. No doubt. But this is not how my daughter wants to live for the rest of her life. I know her. She's vibrant. She's exciting. She's beautiful. She's outgoing. I was like, this is not how she would want to live. So, Lord, if you don't heal her and totally restore her, then just take her. Just take her home. It was like one of the hardest things that I had to go to the Lord and actually tell him. But I want you to know one thing. I never said, if you can't heal her, because I know he can. There's nothing too hard for God. And all things are possible to those who believe. And yes, I was believing for her healing. But we know that there are times where God doesn't heal the way we want him to heal, or when we want him to heal. He does it in his time and in his way. But it's not that he can't. And it's not that I didn't trust him. That's why I never said, if you can't heal her. I said, Lord, if you don't. than just take. And look at what he did. He healed you.
But it wasn't like the next day I was healed.
No.
It wasn't like, you know, a few months later, healed. A year later, healed. 2 years later, healed. 3 years later, 4 years later.
I mean, it was definitely getting better.
It was getting better.
At 4 years, it was definitely better.
But I mean, my last surgeries were
6 years later.
exactly, you know, where they had to, I mean, I don't want to go ahead and give too much away because this is more to the documentary, but like, this is just to remind you guys too that this is literally just the foundation in this documentary. There is so much to talk about going forward, but it was not an easy process. I can't wait to go ahead and start telling you guys about how I felt.
Yes.
In my thoughts, in my feelings.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure that you're going to surprise me with some of those, you know, because it was a rough road, but
yeah,
we just
really rough. Really rough.
we just have to trust God and keep following him and yeah.
You never know what somebody went through. Everybody has a story. Everybody. So the person that you're standing in line with at the grocery store that might be taking too long or not understanding something
Or crabby
or the person that's driving that's maybe driving too slow or driving too whatever, you don't know what these people have gone through in their life.
That's right.
Everybody has a story. Everybody has trauma in their life. Everybody has survival on them. Different levels of it, but it's there. So
be patient, be kind, be compassionate.
And don't judge. That's God's job, okay?
Yes.
Everything they have. Look at him. They're so young. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse us. Oh, let's get you a treat.
Throw a tantrum, and why not offer him a treat? That's the trouble with kids today. Parents don't parent anymore.
You'll be his third foster family, so it will take him some time to feel safe with you. He's been through a lot of abuse.
Oh, gosh.
But if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. Hey, buddy. Do you want to go get something to eat? Do you want to go see your new home and we can eat there? Or we can go eat at a restaurant? You pick.
That's a nice car.
Yeah, it is. You take food stamps, right?
Unbelievable. Mooching off the government, but you drive a sports car. Nice.
Thank you so much for letting me borrow your car again and watching him.
No problem. You've been through a lot, and I'm so happy to help. Anything to help while you're trying to get back on your feet.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Bye. Bye.
What is this guy doing? This guy's an idiot. Ah, get out of the way! Get out of the way! Learn to drive! About time. Are you drunk? Learn to drive, idiot!
I'm very sorry. We tried everything that we could. I'll give you a moment.
How am I going to tell the kids?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
I'm just curious. When I was in an induced coma, did you ever just talk to me?
Oh, I talk to you all the time. Yes. Yep. And I had worship music playing, and I held your hand a lot. And yeah, I talk to you all the time because I know that when people are in comas, I believe they could still hear. I believe they could still hear. I know that you heard me. I know that you heard me when the first time I stepped in your room and I grabbed your hand and I said, "Mommy's here." I know you heard me. And I knew at that point too that you relaxed instead of feeling like you were someplace in some unknown place that I had no idea where you were at. Because before that, I didn't have any idea where you were at. But yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love you.
Oh, I love you too. My grandma, my mom's mom, she wonders, why do you guys talk about this stuff? Why do you guys make these documentaries?
Just forget about it.
It
It's
makes
over.
you cry. Yeah, just forget about it. And the reason why we're doing this, why God put it on my heart to start this, is because these miracles are not just for me and my mom. God needs to be recognized because he's still a miracle working God. Still.
He loves doing miracles.
And it's like, if we can go ahead and bring hope and some type of awareness and just talk about God, then that's what he wants us to do.
That's right. He gets all the glory in this.
Yeah. So anyways, thank you very much, you guys, for following along and watching. Like I said, this is just the beginning, okay? Seriously. You are not even going to believe the things that happen later. Oh my gosh, you're not even going to believe it. So please subscribe if you have not already. Follow along, comment, and share this to somebody who you think needs to hear it. And thank you very much.
Thanks for watching.
And have a great day, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.